right, thanks so much for sharing your garden with us. And now we're going to be turning to a really popular topic, not just here in Texas, but all across the nation, growing your own fruit and nuts. And we are joined by Larry Womack from Womack Nursery in De Leon. It's great to have you with us.
Well, thank you, Tom. Glad to be here.
And this is a family-run business. It's been around for multiple generations now, right?
That's correct. My grandfather started out in the nursery business in the Depression. He worked for Fitzgerald's Nursery there in Stephenville, Texas in the 20s. And, you know, back during the Depression, the two things that thrived were nurseries and seed companies.
Yes.
We planted our own food. And then in 1937, he broke off and started the nursery where we're at today. My dad was born on the nursery and still helps me at 77 years old.
Well, that's great.
So we hope to continue the generations coming. My son is there close. He's managing a large pecan operation within 5 miles of me and doing a really good job.
All right, so there's some deep roots in De Leon right now. Growing,
right now there are.
With fruit trees and pecans mostly. Hundreds of varieties, I understand.
On fruit and pecan trees, we have over 120 different varieties we propagate.
I think that's very cool. And, you know, I think that a lot of folks would appreciate the fact that it is a homegrown business, and they can find you, they can actually buy directly from you, both through a mail order catalog and a website, correct?
Yes. Mail order's always been our mainstay, but as the internet grows, so does our website, and our website sales have overtaken our standard old catalog. So I guess it's slowly fading away as in everything.
Yeah, the printed page is fading away everywhere.
That's
I think.
correct.
Right.
That's right.
Okay, so we're talking about fruit trees at the time when most people think about planting them, right here in the middle of winter. This in Central Texas is a great time to get them in the ground. And why is this the best time?
We are a bare root nursery, and whether you're planting bare root or container, either one, this is the time of year to do it. We wait for the cool temperatures to put the sap back in the ground. You have very little sap when you're moving the trees, and whether it's bare root or container, once spring hits, it comes and takes off very readily or quickly. We started digging fruit trees about a week ago. We'll start our retail operation next week as soon as this little cold snap that we're in right now ends. All
right. And, you know, people who are hearing us and who aren't familiar with nursery terms, bare root are trees that are grown out in the fields and then lifted and dug. And a lot of people think, wow, it really shocks the system of a plant. Yeah. But actually, for fruit trees, it's one of the most efficient ways to do it, right?
That's correct. Nearly all commercial operations plant bare root trees. And when you're doing it this time of year, like I say, the success rate is very, very good.
Right.
Now, the thing that differs us from a lot of nurseries, we never let that tree dry out. Once we take it out of the ground, we bed it in wet soil, we get it ready for shipment, and it's packaged in sphagnum moss, which has a kind of a natural occurring fungicide.
Right.
Keeps it moist, so when you get a package from us, it's good for up to 2 weeks until you have to plant it.
Okay. Well, I know that the Texas area, the hill country, is known for peaches, but there are lots of other things that people could try. What are some of the up-and-coming fruit tree varieties that are real popular?
You know, it seems like the more unique things are, the better it's selling here lately. Persimmons are really big. Pomegranates have taken off. Grapes. I sell probably 40 to 50,000 grapevines a year.
That's great.
You know, grapevines, you know, a lot of the small acreage of grapes, I like to say that it's dreamed up after 3 glasses of wine in a wine tasting room, you know,
right.
and then it's fun for about 2 years, and then it turns into work. But you know, that's all right. It's a hobby.
Yeah, exactly.
It's stress relief.
Well, you know, and gardening is a practice.
That's right.
And it is something you have to stick with. And grapevines require that attention, but they can be very beautiful, and it's fun to do.
That's right. That's correct.
So interesting that these unique varieties are taking off.
Yes, and grapes are something that, you know, with the high pH soils that you have here around Austin and up 35, grapes are an option for you. And you can do it organically and just, have fun with it.
Right. Well, there are tons of different varieties. Now, when people are selecting fruit trees, there are a couple of bits of wisdom that a lot of people are aware of, but I'd like you to kind of explain what on the lookout here. One is chilling hours.
That's correct.
Every tree practically has a different requirement for this, right?
That's right. Some people use zones, but more exact science is the chilling hour requirements. Chilling hours are the hours below 42 degrees and above 20. Once a tree reaches that, and you get a little warm weather, the tree will bloom. Hence, the higher chill peaches or whatever you're planting tend to go up in North Texas.
Sure.
In this area here, for Austin and in this area, we look for fruit trees from 400 chill hours to 700. In the valley, we look at 200 to 300 chill hours. Plant both. I mean, you want varieties that will bloom later, but yet, as we've had in the last 4 or 5 years, we've had 2 or 3 years that we've hardly had a winter.
Exactly.
Didn't get enough chill hours, and we need those low chill varieties in order to bloom. If you don't get enough lack of chilling, you get a sporadic bloom. Therefore, you don't get any fruit.
And a lot of fruit trees also require pollinators, meaning and say if you plant a peach,
That's
you
correct.
need another peach of a different variety.
Plums are sensitive to pollination. Peaches, not so much. Apples have to have 2 different varieties. Pears, by the book, stand alone. But it's a known fact that pears planted in 2 different kinds or in pairs produce a lot more.
Yeah.
So the only thing we really worry about are plums and apples. Everything else is kind of freestanding.
I think of pears as being one of the all-star fruits for this region. Would you agree?
Hey, there are pear trees that are over 100 years old in old ranches, old farmsteads. The more you abuse a pear tree, seems like the better it'll do.
Yeah.
Slow growing. The only thing we worry about on pears is fire blight.
Yeah.
And fire blight comes into play, fast, vigorous, new growth. So no fertilizer, minimum water, not much care, and that tree will be there.
Sounds ideal for a lot of folks.
That tree will be there 20 years from now.
That sounds
no problem.
Real ideal. What are your favorite varieties of pear for Texas?
Well, I like the Asian pears, like 20th Century and Hosui. Now, I always, when people are asking for recommendations, I always have to say, well, do you want a cooking pear or one for eating?
Yeah.
Cooking pear would be a kefir. Very hard pear, doesn't fall apart where you're cooking it. Now, a softer type pear would be a Ayers or LeConte. High sugar content, low grit cells. If you want something middle of the road, go with Moonglow or Orient.
Okay. All right. Those are great recommendations. I'm real big on pears right now. They're good crops coming in, and I'm enjoying them. So let's talk about some other unusual things. I want to go back to the pomegranates. You're introducing some new varieties there. This is a plant that seems like it's a craze in the United States right now about pomegranates.
The board that are promoting pomegranates are doing a great job. That the promotion board is responsible for research and pushing the antioxidant craze, and it is really taking off. The old standard for around here, variety-wise, is wonderful. The second best seller is sweet, but we're looking at stuff like garnet sash. There's some out of Russia and some out of the Mideast that are looking promising. We've got them in the catalog this time, and we're trying to get them out all over Texas to see which ones will do the best. The thing about pomegranates, really good in Central Texas south. From our area in Central Texas north, you have to look at things being a little bit more
sheltered.
Yeah, they're very cold sensitive, very cold sensitive.
All right, very good. Well, Larry, I know that you're going to get quite a few visitors from this, but it's Womack Nursery in De Leon, Texas, and we really appreciate you being on the program, and I hope a lot of people will look you up online and get your catalog as well.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Tom.
Thanks for the opportunity of visiting with us, and we look forward to having you back. Coming up next is our friend Daphne.